Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by probably the two driest people you'll ever meet. And when I say that, I mean probably just in sense of humour.
I think, man, it's quite hot in here.
It is quite hot in here. Yes, I would agree on that. But no, if you haven't figured it out, what we're reviewing by the title of the video.
Yeah, I hope they looked at it before they clicked it.
Yes, it is Force of Nature, The Dry 2, which Force of Nature is basically, it's the title of the book, but they've basically just obviously put The Dry 2 in there, obviously, to make people know that it is a sequel to The Dry, which is an Australian film. So if you're watching this and you're Australian, you probably know about it. If not, I'm actually not sure if it came out overseas or not, but it does star Eric Bana, Anna Torv, some other Australian acting royalty, but I'll give you the loose bit of plot in terms of, because it is, I guess, a mystery, like similar to obviously as the book, but he plays Aaron Falk, and it's about 5 women who go camping on a company paid for retreat, and then one goes missing, and then there's obviously a lot more at play, as you can probably
as there
come to as there always is in a mystery, but it is directed and written by Robert Connolly, and who's probably a bit of Australian filmmaking royalty in himself, directing like Ballabo back in like 2006, I think it was a while ago.
I don't know if I saw that.
Great film. He's directed The Slap, Paper Planes also. Some he probably one of the most well-known Australian directors that's working internally. Yeah, obviously you've got Baz Luhrmann and stuff, but he doesn't really do anything here, but apart from make them here, but they're all, multi-million-dollar projects. But I have seen the first one. It's not really remotely connected. It's just obviously the same character. It's two completely different incidents and situations that it takes place. So it's obviously just the same character.
Is the first one still like a detective mystery kind of format?
Yeah. It came out in 2020, like just after COVID, but
okay,
or just before maybe. I can't exactly remember. I don't know where I want to all I got to say is, and I'm sure you'll probably agree in this sense, it's like, and I've said this every time I film a review for an Australian film, it is very, it is quite jarring for like the first 5-10 minutes anytime watching Australian films, hearing your own accent. And the main reason why is obviously just every bit of consumption of media we've ever been through in our whole lives is arguably American, British.
Anything outside of Australian, pretty much.
Well, even that, like in terms of going to the films, it's like you probably get really 10 Australian films, 5 Australian films, probably max a year, whereas you get 5 different films a week that are arguably from America or UK or other countries that's starring American talking.
We don't really have an excessive amount of blockbusters either, A grade, $100 million profit films.
We usually have a lot of A grade $1 million profit films made here, but not, like Mad Max and most recently, Thor, Ragnarok. You have Elvis. Like there's a lot made here now, just because we've obviously got the land, we've got the studios on the Gold Coast. But it does take a little bit of adjusting. But I actually there's such a rawness to Australian films though, in terms of like the sound design and like the editing. It's very I don't know the right word for it, but it's like there's sort of a realism to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to put my tongue on it. Yeah, realism.
There's such a raw tone to everything Australia does in their filmmaking style. But I actually thought this film itself looked incredible. It is filmed, funnily enough, probably about 35, 40 minutes away from where we are, where you realistically kind of nearly grew up.
I was looking at a couple of the areas there, and I'm like, I reckon I'll walk there.
Yeah, probably. It did look beautiful. I thought the cinematography was stunning. I thought the sound design was actually fantastic. Like technically, this film is fantastic on all facets, in my opinion. Like the cinematography, the sound design, even the direction at most of the time, and then the score I felt perfectly emphasized the film itself. I
felt like for me the plot was the weak point. I agree with you that all the other stuff was standout, but I felt like that didn't have enough kind of depth to it at times, and it was jarring between different scenes. I guess without going into like the spoiler kind of territory, I know you'll probably comment on it, but it was at the start, probably the first 20 minutes, felt like a weird transition between past and present scenarios and like reflecting on the storytelling that's happening and then reflecting on the current like realistic scenario that the main character is going through. I felt like that was like jarring at a time, kind of a little bit confusing. And then it was good.
I was going to say, I actually really
Yeah.
enjoyed that aspect because it was a very different style of filmmaking in a sense that when you deal with mystery films where there's things that obviously rely on flashbacks or people telling what happened, a lot of the time the whole film will unroll and then there'll be like a little montage scene or something,
Yeah,
and it's
this
like
happened, then
it's
this happened.
juxtaposition. It's just thrown on you in juxtaposition. And it's just like here's everything that happened. But I actually really enjoyed the way, and it's very easy to distinct the flashbacks because I don't know if you noticed, but like with flashbacks and even scenes replaying, there's little audio cues and the film's visual style completely
visual
changes,
style
which I
definitely
actually really
changes.
so like stylistically, I thought it was really cool in that avenue. But I actually enjoyed the facts that while the film and while the characters in the film are unraveling this mystery, it's almost unraveling with you as well, which I actually really enjoyed. A lot of which kind of did, in my opinion, though, while I enjoyed it, took away from the ending because you'd kind of already clued everything together, which the film purposely did. Like it gave you
Yeah.
everything. Whereas obviously you've seen films like these where it's like, you know, the character goes, oh, okay. And then they go into, you know, like a Knives Out situation. They go into the room and they're like, you did this. I noticed this. And you're like, holy shit. And
Yeah.
it's like this like awesome feeling of like, fuck that, you know, I'll go back and watch it and I'll pick up on it. But it's like, you don't really, whereas this film obviously, it purposely didn't go for that. The book's kind of like that in a way. But I felt like it just kind of, the payoff of the ending didn't count as much for me because of that technique.
Yep.
But in terms of like stylistically and the way the film was made, I actually really enjoyed that, but it just didn't land the ending for me and I think that was purely just because of the stylistic
style,
of the
yeah.
specific art, like the artist of Robert Connolly's direction and of that. But I thought the editing though was like really good in the way how it transitioned between those scenes while the film was on. I actually really enjoyed the editing. But I look, I mean, for Australia, as far as Australian films go, I had a good time, and I think it's
Probably one of the better
fairly
ones I've seen in a
decent
while
movie.
too.
I can't remember the last one I saw. Like the last one of the, like, I mean, we've got some seriously phenomenal films. It's just most of the time they go underseen. Like Nitram a couple years ago, which was incredible about the Port Arthur massacre. There's Baby Teeth starring Ben Mendelsohn about like his daughter who's got cancer, and it's like to be fair, every Australian film. Yeah, when I've talked
always
about this, I've
depressed,
talked about
aren't they?
murder, I've talked about cancer. I mean, you know, you've obviously got Animal Kingdom, which ended up being at the Academy Awards that got obviously appraisal outside of Australia, but not many of them obviously have the firepower of having Eric Bana as the star, which we did look up before because he, is in his own right
we wonder
like
where he went.
a big actor. Like we're talking about Hulk. He was in Munich. He was in Gladiator. No, not Troy. Yeah, I was thinking of Troy and I said Gladiator. And do you know why? Is because I was thinking of Chopper, like an actor who was A grade realistically in the early
Without a
2000s.
doubt,
And
yeah.
obviously we looked it up and it seems like he's obviously taken more of a sort of smaller kind of
wanted to
outlook
focus a
on
lot
it,
more on
wanting to,
family
which
than
I really
himself.
respect. So I, hope everything's well for him. But I thought he was easily the best part about I thought
Without a doubt.
his performance was
It was
great.
nice to
which
see
you-
him up there. Like
which
really
you'd obviously
trying to-
expect. I thought Anna Torv as Alice also was seriously good. Who plays
What's she
Tess in Last of Us.
And
But
what
other
else?
than that,
I felt like I've seen her face, but probably because she's been.
she
in-
did have a very recognisable face. She's
Yeah.
also in Fringe, the TV show, Newsreader, Mindhunter. She plays Wendy in Mindhunter, which is a fantastic TV show. So that's probably where I knew her from. That's made by David Fincher, who obviously did like Killer and Gone Girl. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a Netflix TV show. But she was also fantastic. I despised her character with every fibre of my being because
Yep.
she's just a bitch. But there's no other way to put it. But no, I thought there's definitely something to get out of this. Like I would tell my mum to go see this, and she would probably love it. With
Yeah,
like
my
my
mum
mum
would
and grandma
absolutely
would be
soak it
like,
up.
"This was phenomenal." And I always support Australian cinema as like, anything filmed here and obviously Australian cinema in general is the starting point for a lot of actors and actresses. It started, Andrea Rice, who we obviously saw in Mean Girls just a couple of weeks ago, started her. No, not a couple of, like literally last week, started her. So I really enjoy supporting it. So it does like, not that I have a biased opinion, it just holds a special place in my heart, and I always advocate for it.
Yeah.
I don't think we inherently ever make bad films. It's just they're usually always really fucked up and like hard.
Hard to watch ones a lot of the time. Like
Hard to watch
controversial
ones.
topics or tough scenarios.
Yeah, like Baby Teeth, I cried my eyes out. Like Animal Kingdom, fucked. Nit Ram made me feel sick in the stomach. This film, felt like it was such a rawness to it. It did feel uncomfortable to watch at times.
I felt like it was very digestible though. Like for me, there was no point where I'm like kind of waiting for the movie to conclude or waiting for the next part. I felt like it was easy to soak in. Like I wasn't looking for the time.
Yeah.
That didn't feel like how long the movie felt like. I just got really soaked into it.
I actually fully agree, and I think that was purely because of the editing style as well, which I kind of brought up before. But then I'm sure you agree, come to the end, it's like you've already kind of realized everything.
Yeah.
But I actually really enjoyed how all the stories, well, not the stories, but like the main, obviously Eric Banner's character, Folk's story intertwined with the story that was happening. It obviously had a little bit of personal emotion towards that case and that situation, and I thought that paid off, and there was some intrigue there. But I do agree. I just I don't know. Like I just felt like there was a little bit of missing meat to the story. I don't know where that could have come from. Obviously, any book is hard to adapt to film just because it's impossible to adapt a person's thoughts onto a visual screen.
And time being one of the limitations too. You got to tell as much of the story you can within an appropriate amount of time without going overboard.
Yeah, but no, I definitely think it's a very, very. I think it's a very good movie. I really do, and I do recommend everyone to see it. I actually don't know if it's got. I looked on IMDb, and it has got an Australian release date of 8th of Feb, I think. So it's a couple of weeks
on
away.
The screen, 8th of Feb.
Couple of weeks away, but I think the only other country that has a penned release is Afghanistan or something. Like, I can't remember, like some other country, and that was just the other one. So
Cool.
odd, but if you're obviously watching this, I'm sure you're probably from Australia. We do recommend seeing it. Support physical media. Why am I talking about that? We talked about support Australian films. And look, support physical media as well. Go buy it on Blu-ray or something when it comes out. But no, I do recommend seeing it. And when it comes out, I'll be watching. I'll be telling my mum and grandma to go see it, and they'll have a great time. And
I think that's going to be one of my favorite parts of this film is having other people watch it and then being able to kind of absorb what their thoughts are. Because I feel like, I've really enjoyed this film and I'd love to see that side of things. So I can't wait until
I think that's the best thing about film. That's why we're here. Like I could technically go do it's just like you could. You could go do solo film reviews or talk about films.
Sharing of experience.
It's the sharing of thoughts and the conversing side of things, which I think is the best part about film. Obviously, you can widen your intelligence. You can watch a film that will broaden your emotional range. But I think at the end of the day, it brings people together, and that's exactly what'll I don't know why this is getting sappy, but that's I think the best thing about it. But
definitely.
If you have seen it, which by the time this review goes out, I don't think you will, but because it's not out yet, but. When you do see it, comment below, let us know what you think. If you like our review as well, subscribe, give that like button, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.